Actually, talking about poetry and Arabic vocal music, 90% of the old classical Arabic music, it's vocal, and 10% or even less instrumental. So the repertoire that we have in classical Arabic music, it's based on the singer and the vocalist and the voice and the poetry. So it's very important. And the instrumental forms that we have are either, most of them are Turkish, and this is because of the Turkish influence on Arabic music. So if you want, for example, to learn to play an Arabic instrument in the conservatory in Lebanon, you learn those instrumental forms that are originally Turkish for Turkish composers. And also Arab composers like Egyptian and from different countries worked on the instrumental forms, but later. But the old repertoire, most of it is vocal. And the instrumental forms usually are used to introduce the performance of the singer. And we call it in classical Arabic wasla. Wasla means a set for a performance that they use to perform. So they use the instrumental form as introduction at the beginning of the wasla to introduce the maqam for the singer, and then the singer comes and the rest of the wasla is vocal, based on the voice. So, and those vocal forms are, we have like really old vocal forms and newer vocal forms. So, like for example, we have a vocal form called dialogue and monologue. And those vocal forms are recent because of the influence of the European theater, musical theater, on Arabic music. So we got those two forms, and it was then later used in cinema, in Egyptian cinema. But the old forms are Mawal, Muwashah, and Qasida. So the form I'm going to talk about is the Muwashah. Actually, I will tell you in short about each. The Mawal is the vocal form without rhythm. And it's usually they do it with two words, Ya Layl, Ya Ain, and they improvise. So this is one of the old vocal forms. The second vocal form I talked about is the Qasida. Qasida is a poetical form, classical poetical form, and it has like minimum 10 lines, the poem, with 1 meter and 1 rhyme. This is the classical form. So the vocal form is based on this poetical form, and it's called Qasida. Now the Muwashah...
Could you do you know rhyme by heart from this form?
And of course, you mean lyrics?
Yeah,
of course.
Just as an example to hear the rhyme and the meter.
For example, أراك عصي الدمع شيمتك الصبر أمال الهوى نهي عليك ولا أمر نعم أنا مشتاق وعندي لوعة ولكن مثلي لا يذاع له سر. I have to sing it to remember.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can sing a little bit of the beginning to see how that's translated.
Yeah, but this is the form, the poetical form is like this, but when they do the melody, they repeat the word and they do something else with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But usually the qasida, the rhythm is wahda. It's dum, dum, tak, dum. I'll try. أراك عصي الدمع شيمتك الصبر أمان الهوى نهي عليك أمان الهوى نهي عليك نعم أنا مشتاق وعندي لوعة نعم etc.
Yeah.
It's like 10 lines and above. So it's a long vocal form.
Yeah, and it's nice when she sings the in between she sings what the orchestra plays.
The interludes,
The
yeah.
interludes, which
And
is fun
yeah.
to hear.
In this vocal form, actually, the interludes are not important. They are only filling to continue the rhythm or to keep the maqam. So it's, you can find this tararararam, bum, barararararara. You can find it in million qasida on bayati, on the same maqam. So it's more like fillings. And this vocal form, the qasida, it's characterized that the interludes are not the important part. The important part is the line that the singer sings.
And then the whole orchestra plays, well, part of the orchestra, yeah, but they also play the melody with you, or only the...
Yeah, this is in Arabic music in general.
Yeah.
They play, they have the melody, the same as the singer, but they used to do before, in the past, because now there's bad taste in music in general. So now they think that if they put the score, because before they never had the score, they know it. And each one of the instrumentalists adds something, even if it's too small, like a small ornament, or like a small 2-3 notes, and it makes the difference and the variety. So now they have the melody and they play every single note of the melody, which I think is very bad, and it's not what classical Arabic music was. It was different. They used to stop somewhere or play around the melody with the singer, or do like the nai would do small embellishment, the oud would do something else, and this would make it interesting. And unfortunately, we lost it now because it's a matter of taste and listening. So, and since not many musicians now listen to the old school to learn, so they lost this nuance, which is very important in Arabic music, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit, you can compare to the Baroque music in Europe, that the Baroque music was a form that was actually very free, with a lot of embellishments, and people, the clavecin, how do you call it? The harpsichord just played, had like a figured bass, and so everybody was filling in, and then later on in the early 20th century, I think, and when they started playing Baroque again, they played very classical, so they played exactly what there was and nothing more, and now it becomes more popular to get the old playing style back.
Yeah.
So that's sort of,
music too,
yeah,
more popular.
which is you are doing, that's good.
So this is the qasida. Now we'll talk about Muwashah. And Muwashah, it started in Moorish Spain when the Arabs were in Andalus, or Moorish Spain, in the 7th century, I think. And it is based also on a poetical form. So if you say Muwashah, it is a poetical form, let alone the melody. Even you can find a book called Muwashahat, and it will be only poetry. Not necessarily that they put melody to this poetry. And when this form started, the poets that used to write qasida, the one I told you about before, which is 1 meter and 1 rhyme, they didn't like it because they thought it's not up to the level. Because in Muwashahat, sometimes they mix the classical Arabic, the Fusha, with the spoken Arabic. And sometimes they don't respect the meter of the poetry, which is not right for the poets that write classical Arabic poetry. For example, I'll give you an example. There is a muwashah that we are doing, and the meter is broken. It's not, it's they don't respect the meter for the sake of the melody. So he says, لاح بدر التم في رهط الملاح. So it's 3-3. يملأ الأكوان أنسا وانشراح. Then يا قوام البان يا نور الصباح لست أخشى إن لاح لي فيك لاح. So suddenly it's 4, it's broken. You know, the meter is broken. But it's, with the melody you don't feel it. And so they didn't, the classical poets, they didn't like it first. They thought this is a low-level poetry. And also in Muwashahat, they can, as I told you, they combine spoken, like for example, if it's an Egyptian composer, Egyptian Muwashah, the composer might use an Egyptian word that's not in classical Arabic in the Muwashah. So, and the meaning or the content of the poetry of Muwashahat, it's all about love and free love, you know, and drinking, enjoying life. There's a lot of drinking and fill my...
It's a Spanish influence, I guess.
Maybe, yeah. So yeah, it's all the time, املا للأقداح, please fill my glass and give me a drink and let's enjoy it. And of course sometimes it's love from one side. So, and so for example, I love someone and he doesn't love me, so I say, yeah, you don't love me, but I still love you, and I will always love you, and I will dream of you. And it could be also this kind of love, not unfulfilled love. Or let's enjoy life, that's, yeah, okay, so as topic. Musically speaking, so you take the Muwashah as a poetry, and there is a certain form that you have to follow for this to be called also Muwashah as a vocal form. And usually it is A, B, A. So A, دور أول, دور ثاني, خانة, غطاء. So the A have the same melody and different lyrics. The B part is the khana, it's called in Arabic, is the part where the melody it changes. So this is the as a form. Two main characteristics of the Muwashah as a vocal form. One, the rhythm, because they use complex old Arabic rhythms in Muwashahat. Many old Arabic rhythms you can't find an example, a song, except in Muwashahat. So they use these long, complex rhythms for this kind of vocal form. And they have a lot of filling words. And this is because of the rhythms, because when the rhythm is long and they need to continue the phrase, so they put lyrics that has no meaning, only filling. And later on, Turkish words like aman, ganim, umrim, those are Turkish words that we sing a lot in the Muwashahat, and it's because of the Ottoman influence on Arabic music. So filling words like, for example, yalala, yalalalli, yalalali, those are, they don't have no meaning. It's only filling to continue the cycle of the rhythm. And they use it in a very interesting way. Like, I'll give you an example. منيتي عز اصطباري زاد وجدي the aman, Turkish word, and the yalala or yalalali, it's all filling words to continue the cycle of the rhythm, which is here 14/4 rhythm.
Yeah, it's a 14/4 rhythm, which takes, well, it's, we can do it together?
Yeah, it's, I'll do it. So dum, dum, dum. Dum, ta, 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 ta. من اللي حاضر كان بداري أمان 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 يا ليلي ليلي أمان من سيوفين يا ليلي من سيوف ناسهم ليلي أمان أمان يا ليلي. So this is the...
So it's a very, for us musicians, this is very new to play on such long forms, and it's really interesting because...
And it's interesting how they cut the lyrics with the rhythm. It's great. So like there's one we will do also. It's the lyrics in Arabic. It's يا هلالا غاب عني واحتجب. So يا هلالا. So but the composer does it like this. يا هلا هلالا يا هلالا هلالا يا هلالا غاب غاب عني واحتجب. And sometimes you can find 3 words, but it takes him, the composer, like a long, like the half of the song to finish the first 3 words, which is very interesting. So I'll give you another example. Actually, a Muwashah for Sayyid Darwish called حير الأفكار بدري. So حير الأفكار بدري, 3 words in Arabic. But he does like this. حير الأفكار first 3 words of the poem. So now no one does composition like this, unfortunately. So as I was saying, the rhythm and the filling words are the interesting part in Muwashahat. And usually the Muwashah, you can find really short, very short Muwashahat, because qasida, the vocal form I told you about, it's long, heavy. The tempo is slow, but in Muwashahat you can find lively Muwashahat, very short melodies. So yeah, that's it.